One of my favorite cartoons is this one. And it shows an older gentleman sitting in an armchair and someone who's younger than him sitting in an armchair across from him. And they're surrounded by books, learned people. And the older gentleman says, "Those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. Yet those who do study history are doomed to stand by helplessly while everyone else repeats it." As we age, we discover that some choices we make turn out positively, and others don't turn out so well. If you pay attention and remember to the consequences of your choices, you conclude that you've learned some stuff. Maybe you think you've gained some wisdom. Maybe you think you've learned and can share. And this frustration begins when you believe you have wisdom and no one's listening to you when you offer advice. When I was about 27 working in corporate America, my mentor gave me this advice. He said, if you want to be happy and have money, here are 5 rules. Stay with the first person you marry. Do not gamble in any form. Do not buy a horse. Do not buy a boat. Sorry, Ben. Do not buy a boat. If possible, do not have children. These rules were lessons that my mentor learned from his life. All were hard learned from his mistakes. Are they universal for everyone? Probably not. Maybe some of them are really bad advice. But my mentor's advice had me wondering about the lessons I've learned in my life. Are they of value to anyone else? Perhaps everything I've learned is only of value to me and could be harmful to others. Will my hard-learned lessons be bad advice to someone else? Someone else who's in a different situation than I was? Sometimes we ignore really good advice. Here's a family story. My mother-in-law's older brother, and this probably dates back to the 1930s, 1940s, he was hard-headed, stubborn, wouldn't really listen to anybody, and he was digging a ditch in his backyard. And his father and one of his other brothers said, "You need to shore up the walls of your ditch." And he's like, "No, I'm fine, I'm fine." The walls cave in, he died, buried alive. Sometimes good advice ought to be listened to. But now the question really is, how does good advice get shared and heard? Where do you go to get good advice? Where do we gain a different perspective from someone else, maybe who's been around a little bit longer or more experiences? I think age does help us learn. And this may only because if you continue to be alive, you're not only lucky, but you figured out how to avoid dying. So far. I'll turn 70 soon. And many of my friends, cousins, and loved ones born about the same time as I was, they died. They died from accidents, disease, drugs, war, cancer, suicide, and one by losing a race with a train at a crossing. I'm still standing, perhaps by luck, perhaps by grace, and perhaps by some of my choices. I'm glad you're all alive. But I'm not the only one who's alive. Here are the folks alive in the United States today. 27% are either the silent generation, born from 1923 to 1944, or the baby boomers, 1945 to 1965. These are elders who are older than 60. What's surprising to me is that 73% of our country was born after 1965. And 53% of our country was born after 1981. 53, over half of our country was born after 1981. Now these statistics, thought-provoking, and I began to wonder, where does the 53% of our country born after 1981 get advice? I mean, with our current scattered family norm, where the kids move far, far away, start their own life, start their own family, where do people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s get perspectives? Most of these people don't attend church. So where can they go to get answers to life's persistent problems? Well, you can go to the internet. elderwisdomcircle.org. Inspired by his grandmother, a guy started this, Doug Mickelson. He founded this in 2001. It's now a nationwide, and this group comprises volunteers from age 60 to 100 who endeavor to provide assistance to younger people who ask questions through a website. It's an online intergenerational program pairing advice seekers with a network of elders who provide empathetic, caring, supportive advice based on their own life experiences. And elders answer advice letters via the website, and they give younger generations free personal advice on a very wide range of topics. From love, relationships, family, child rearing, career, self-improvement, and much, much more. It's a pretty cool site. And they post some examples. And here's one I'd just like to share. Here's the seeker asking the questions. I don't know what to do with my life. I feel like I need to become someone who's important. I feel lonely every day. I don't know if I'm really bisexual or not. I don't know if I should go back to college or not. I'm upset because this pandemic destroyed some of my plans. I feel like crying every time I think because I know my life is not going anywhere. You don't have to be young to feel that way. To which he gets a reply which starts, I'm Grandpa Matt. You're not alone in the confusion between understanding your values as a human being, who you are, and what you do or perform in life. In looking at who you are, you need to look at this distinction that keeps showing up in your life. When you came into this world as a baby, you had all the qualities of heart. You were lovable, creative, living in the present, and had curiosity and vulnerability. Now, Grandpa Matt goes on for another 500 words, offering advice, and it's pretty good. elderwisdomcircle.org. But I'll ask, is a virtual, anonymous, typed conversation real connection? A real relationship? Isn't there a closer connection that's not anonymous, that's available to all of us? A close connection to someone who's right in front of you and not using a thesaurus or spell check in their reply. Perhaps that 27% of our country that are elders, and some of those elders are pretty darn wise. How do you find a wise elder? How do you choose an elder to ask? Oh, yeah, let's be honest. All elders are not wise. Present company accepted. Everyone here is way, way above average. And all elders are not always kind, compassionate, and loving. But should we revere people just because they're older? Yeah, my answer is that we need to respect each other, but not revere everyone. The problem in our country is that as you grow older, you become less and less visible to our youth-oriented worshiping society. Eventually, you become invisible. And you get dismissed, ignored, and brushed aside. If you live long enough, you'll experience this. It's a deep hurt. A double hurt because you feel like you have wisdom and you're being dismissed. But look what can happen if an elder is asked for an opinion or for advice. Most all elders I know have experience and opinions on love, relationships, family and child rearing, career, self-improvement, grief, depression, loss, religion, purpose, meaning in life. They just need to be asked. They may not have advice that's right for you, but you'll get a different perspective. But how do we tap into this incredible deep reservoir of wisdom? How do we connect with another's knowledge that they gain from their life? How do we start our own Ask an Elder movement? I say, get a mentor. And I mean everyone should have a mentor. Whether you're 30 or 90, everyone can benefit from asking advice and life's big questions and challenges from someone else. A mentor, an elder, doesn't have to be older than you are. I have several mentors, some decades younger than I am. Sometimes I politely ignore the answers. Sometimes I am transformed by what I hear. You need to sort through, like everything in life. But the benefits only start when you ask for help. So I believe we all benefit from having a mentor, someone we trust with our private struggles, someone you can ask for help. Who is your mentor? Who is your elder? Who might be your mentor? Who can you ask as an elder? I promise you, they are out there and they are all around us. You just need to ask. Amen. And blessed be.